It's been a while. Hi, how are you? In this video, I'm going to show you 3 big knitting projects that I completed over the last couple of months, talk through my one and only current whip, and finally also catch you up a little bit if you're interested, if you want to stick around for that, on where I've been the last couple of months. Things are changing, but hopefully a little bit more stability to come. Sorry I've been away for so long, but if you're back, welcome back. If you're new, hello, and let's go. Testing, testing. Maybe the most obvious thing that's different is the old hair situation. I feel like I look like a little bit of a diamond head right now. I got curtain bangs. They're like really grown out, as you can see. And I still don't really know how to deal with them. So bear with me. Another pretty obvious physical change is that I moved. More on that later. I know most of you are here for the knitting. Let's start with the knitting. I'm still knitting a decent amount. It's just not at the crazy, insane rate that I previously was working with, and that's healthier. Also, in the last couple of months, I have torn apart a lot of my work in progress that I just was no longer in love with, or that I felt like I was forcing myself to do for whatever reason. Maybe if it's like I bought the pattern already, so I feel like I have to just work on it. But took a long, hard look, and that's just not necessarily the case. So I let go of a lot of things. We're clipping the mic onto this hank of yarn because it's much easier for me to hold, but it is very, very funny to me. So I'll show you and talk through these pieces in the back, although to be honest, I finished them so long ago that I don't know that I have anything substantial to say about them. I'll just try them on and kind of show you what's up and tell you my general feelings about it and what yarns I use and things like that. Not much I can tell you about like the process of making them because I don't remember. This is the Tendreil Sweater by the Knit Pro Girl. You may have seen this if you are heavily invested into the Instagram space. Or I feel like this pattern is pretty poppin' on Ravelry too, but I follow the Knit Pro Girl on Instagram, so that's how I heard of this. This is one of her older patterns now, which is kind of crazy, but I was following it when it like was in sample testing and when it was like getting teased for initial release and stuff. And now that I've made it, I can say that it was a very quick knit, very easy. The yarn is worsted weight yarn. It's from Plymouth yarn company, Galway worsted or something like that. The lady at the yarn store said it's very good yarn for, what's the word? Felting. Felting. She said it's very good felting yarn, but I obviously am not using it for felting purposes. So here's a 100% wool sweater that I finished like 2 weeks before we really got into the summer heat, so I haven't really had a chance to wear this, but I do like it. It's cute. I did mess up pretty significantly in the zigzag pattern, especially the first chunk. I'll show you a close-up so you can see what I mean, but I just like had a brain fart when I was doing the increases and I did them completely wrong. Instead of changing or adjusting where I was doing my increases with the increased number of stitches, I was doing them at a fixed place every single time, which just created this straight line, and the increases are supposed to kind of like curve along the collar. You'll see, I'll put pictures up, you'll see what I'm talking about, but it did make that oopsies, and I did notice pretty early on, but I'm also practicing and working on letting there be imperfections in the work. Obviously, if it's something really glaring and if it really bothers me, then I will go back and fix it, but this isn't something that really bothers me. I feel like that portion of the sweater is hidden by my hair most of the time anyways. 2 weeks ago, I had to go into the office, and I did wear this into the office, and I was wearing a white t-shirt under this, so I can't speak to how it performs directly against my skin, but it really didn't bother me. It kept me very, very warm, and I have nothing bad to say about this quite yet. I'm sure once I wear this more often and the yarn really starts to like experience wear and tear, I'll have something else to say about it. The fact that it is a good felting yarn kind of worries me a little bit, because it's like, what if I get hot and sweat, and you know, like the armpit area has a lot of friction, experiences a lot of friction. I'm curious to see how that performs. So far looks great. No complaints here. Next is this guy, which you've seen many, many, many times on YouTube and on Instagram. This is Smilla's sleeves. The pattern is by Ventzel. No, I wanted to say Wetzel, but Wetzel's pretzel is different from Ventzel. Ventzel? I feel like I've talked pretty exhaustively about this piece. All I wanted to do is show you one final time how it wears. So you'll be seeing that right about now. I feel like I have talked ad nauseum about this piece, so I'm not gonna talk anymore about the yarn and the process and all that stuff. That I think is very well documented on YouTube, at least in my previous videos, but I did want to bring it out for one last hurrah because I'm not completely happy with the way that this fits on me. I find that I have to wear a very specific silhouette on top for it to feel, for me to feel good in this. So that is like tank tops, and has to be a square neck tank top. I feel like this vibes very well with. Cannot wear this with t-shirts. I just think that the way that this top is like, yeah, the way that the top cuts at the shoulders plus a t-shirt does not look good on me. It's just, I find that it's not as versatile as I hoped it would be. I think I can only really wear this with spaghetti straps, tank tops that are like, have a wider neckline and things like that. So that's not criticism for the pattern or anything. It's just a little ding in my brain to be like, maybe think more critically about how you would style the pieces that you spend so long making. That's why I had a whole frogging and whip unraveling session earlier this year. And then lastly, I just can't remember for the life of me if I've shown this sweater on camera. It's almost a freehand Raglan sweater, very simple. I think I followed a free Raglan pattern. I will link it. I think it's called the June 2 pattern or something, June 2 Raglan or something like that. The yarn is a DK weight yarn from Plymouth Yarn Company. I don't know why that is so difficult for me to say. It's a cotton wool blend. I think it's like 55% cotton, 45% wool, something like that. And it creates this very marled, I suppose, texture that I like. It's very low-key, I think. Unfortunately, I don't know that this color is for me. I don't know. I've worn this a little bit. I actually, looking at it now, see that there's makeup around the collar, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that off of this. But it is very comfy. It's very lightweight. It's a very light sweater in general, just because of the way the yarn is spun. It's like a chainette spun yarn, so kind of a pain to knit with, because for chainette it's hard because the yarn's so holy, you could, like, especially if you have sharp needles like I do, I have chow goos, they can go through and split the yarn a lot, especially when you're like unraveling or tinking back or anything like that. It's kind of a pain to work with, but assuming you don't make that many mistakes, lucky for you if that's the case, this yarn is, the end result is pretty fabulous, and I love the end result. So I think regardless of what a pain it was to work with in the knitting process, I would use this type of yarn again. I have it all scrunched up now. I know that bugs some people, so I'm gonna throw it to the side. We're back to the yarn microphone. Now I want to show you my work in progress, which is the Agnete cardigan, Agnete. I watched Tiffany's streams when she was making this, and she calls it the Agnete, and I don't know if that's right or not. I love Tiffany, but she does have a penchant for like mispronouncing pattern names. But now it's stuck in my head as the Agnete, so that's canon. That's my whip. I will show you in a bit, but to talk quickly about the yarn that I'm using for it. Suri Stratus by Plymouth Yarn. I don't know what it is. I just have been having a moment with Plymouth yarns. Like the Suri is something I'm trying from them. Obviously the Galway worsted I enjoyed knitting with. And then this yarn, the brown and white here, I don't remember what it's called. Something island, not Fair Isle. Isn't that a type of knitting or an island or something like that? But again, all the yarns will be linked below. I also had a come to Jesus moment in the last couple of months where I unfortunately have decided that Suri alpaca is my preferred fluffy yarn of choice over mohair. Mohair is a little bit itchy for me. I was like in denial about that for so long. It is what it is. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not gonna give away or get rid of the mohair that I currently have in stash. I'm gonna use it and grin and bear with it while I wear it. But moving forward, I'm only going to be buying Suri. So I'm holding this Suri with a light gray that is actually, I grabbed this new hank to kind of show you what it looks like. If you saw the label and you recognize the label, yes, this is from Zakami Yarns, which is, I think they're based in the UK. Oh, hand-dyed in Edinburgh. They got me with one of their sales towards the end of last year. I think it was around the holiday times. This is 100% organic fine merino, fingering weight, non-superwash, which I did not want a superwash yarn, and the colorway is ash. So holding this fingering weight with this white. I will also say this will probably be my last time buying yarn, hand-dyed yarn in particular, off of an online only store. If I can't go see the colorway in person, probably not going to buy yarn again, which sucks because I think that closes a lot of hand-dyed options. But look at this gray. This gray and me is no good. And I knew that the moment I saw it. On the website, stunning, beautiful. It actually looked a little bit more blue on the website. I was hoping for like a bluish gray situation. But when it came, I was like, oh, this is just gray. And I know for a fact I do not look good in this gray. It makes me look malnourished. So I had to purchase a white mohair or like a white fluffy yarn to match with it. I'm gonna stop teasing and just show you the fabric now that it creates. And side by side here, you can kind of see how the Suri lightens it a lot. And this light gray is way better for me. So far on this pattern, I've done the back yoke and I am working, is it the back yoke? Back panel? I don't know. And now I'm working on the front right panel. I think I'm like 2 more increases away from finishing the front right panel, and then we'll move on to the front left panel. And then, I don't know, do something with the sleeves probably. I am playing yarn chicken with this project, which I'm not pleased about because this gray Zakami yarn, I don't know if I'm willing to shell out more money to buy one more skein of this. So I have 3 skeins, that's 1,200 meters, and I have 1,200 meters of this corresponding Suri. If I run out, it's game over. So I'm gonna have to really think about how I want to distribute the yarn usage. Like, am I going to focus on the sleeves and make sure I have enough yarn for both sleeves and then do the body last? Probably, it's probably what I'll do. This is knit in brioche, and one of my goals for this year, which I think is just like my last video or 2 videos ago, one of my goals is to knit more textured stitch patterns, and I am loving brioche so far. It is such a meditative stitch, and I find that when it comes to something like garter, I prioritize speed because I know I can knit garter really fast. But this brioche stitch, man, it's like really forcing me to slow down and look at my stitches and make sure that I'm very present here with my project. And I am loving that. I thought I would be so annoyed by it, but I'm seriously loving it. I may have to work on more brioche projects. And I know they're really slow because it takes you double the amount of time to knit, you know, a certain length of fabric compared to garter or purl or something simpler. I just love, and I love how squishy it is. And like, it's so stretchy and squishy and soft and light and obsessed. Okay, so those are all my knitting projects. If that's what you came for, you got the update. Hopefully more videos coming from me soon. Fingers crossed. I'm once again in like dire straits right now at work in terms of just project stuff. That's just what it means to be a cog in the corporate machine. But in other news, in non-knitting news, or I guess this is kind of knitting adjacent, but I have been cleaning out my whips. I've unraveled a bunch of stuff. I did film clips for me doing that, so I'll put them here so you can watch them back. That was very therapeutic and very frustrating. There are some whips I was just like so over like picking the yarn out that I just started cutting shit. I was like, like I don't have time for this. This is not a warm and fuzzy activity right now. I'm just gonna start cutting because I need to get this done with. But I would say in total, like organizing all my stuff, unraveling things, frogging things, like all that stuff probably took me like a good 5 to 6 hours cumulative, which is crazy. And the other non-knitting thing I want to touch on really quickly is that I have moved. This is my new living room. This is our new living room, let's be real. And it was a process to move. It was a nice process in that I gave myself like 2 to 3 weeks to move so I could do it really gradually, but man, moving just sucks in general. And I had to find furniture on Facebook Marketplace, and no one told me how stressful that is, and now I know for sure I can't be an interior designer or decorator because the amount of stress that I had just like securing a freaking dining table for myself was too much. It was too much stress considering what the task was. So, but you know, we got there. This is what the current state of the living room situation is right now. It's very cute. I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm really on a search for like cute accessories. And by that I mean like cute lamps that don't cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Adding more plants into the space, adding more art. I have been thrifting frames at Goodwill and secondhand stores, but man, finding like nice art to put in those frames is actually a separate task in and of itself. And I am willing to shell out a little bit more for art that I think is really cool or like resonates with me. There are some artists that I have on my wish list from years and years ago when I was like, oh, I need to buy art from them when I have a place of my own. So it's like a matter of getting to that wish list and setting money aside and putting them in frames. And that's like the fun stuff though. This stuff I'm not stressed about. Finding a dining table, stressful. Finding art to put in your frames and hang up on the walls, not as stressful. What else can I talk about? Oh, I'm going to China in a couple of weeks. Hopefully this video is out by that point because I'm in China for 2 weeks. So if it's not out, then this video will be pretty outdated at this point. But that is a problem for future me, and present me is signing off. See you next time.